What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again. Day 2 of the MLB season. We got a night slate here tonight, a 9-game slate. Should be a good one. Most of these games are in a dome, so don't have to worry about much weather on this slate. It should be clean sailing from here on out. We had that postponement yesterday's slate of the Nationals game, but this should be a safe slate with definitely some good hitting options on this one. Some solid pitching options at the top. Let's go over to the pitchers over here. But definitely a good slate overall. So I got my money 6 for you. I got 2 pitchers I'm looking at. Will be mentioning a third pitcher that you can pivot to if you don't like my second guy. Then I'll be going over 3 hitters and then a cheaper kind of option. There was a guy that I liked at kind of a upper salary guy, so not your true like value guy, but a pretty good value based on what I think he'll be doing on the slate. So drop a like in the video before we get going. Show some love to the channel if you appreciate these kind of videos. If you're new here, it really helps me out with all the likes to kind of just get these videos coming to you every day. It gives me more motivation to really give some good insight to you guys. And also, if you guys are interested in more plays than just these plays, I'll be emailing some list of players, like around maybe 4 pitchers, maybe 5 guys at every position. So a longer list of guys that I love for the research reasons, like the splits, the hitters park, and all those good kind of stuff to really attack. So it kind of gives you a good sense of the ownership for that. So you can definitely reach out to me, maybe comment on the YouTube channel or reach out to me on Twitter at MoneyWebby if you're interested in that. I'll be probably charging like $20 per month, so not a bad deal. It's like less than $1 a day, so definitely worth your investment if you want to have a longer list than just these plays. But if you just want the YouTube videos, you can subscribe by hitting that subscribe button. You can turn notifications on and get alerted every time I'll upload these videos. So let's just hop into the plays. My first guy, I'm a Red Sox fan, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think David Price is going to have a bounce back year here. Not a bad salary against Tampa Bay. We know how putrid their lineup is. Chris Sale had a good game against them yesterday on the slate, but he didn't get the win. The bullpen kind of blew up in their face. So maybe they go to David Price a little bit more in this game. This is more, this last year is just kind of the bullpen work he was doing. He was doing very well against Houston, a very tough hitting team. Looked great in that series. So, but this game against Tampa Bay, like I mentioned, their lineup is terrible. They're prone to strikeouts. And if you look at the BVP between the hitters and David Price, he's absolutely dominating these guys. A 116 average, a 27% K rate, so both good things there. A K rate over 25% is very elite, so that's good to see. And then we're talking about 92. I'm not sure if it's 92 or 82, but over 80 plate appearances I have it written down. The 9 kind of looks like an 8, so I'm not sure. But David Price, very elite BVP numbers here. And he's going back to Tampa Bay. Good pitchers park, and they're only projected 3.3 runs. Heavy favorites in this game, so Vegas definitely likes Price. Along with me, I think he'll get the W. The Red Sox will be a little bit motivated after blowing that lead yesterday. They're up 4-0 going into the 8th inning, I believe, and absolutely blew the game open with the Rays. So David Price coming out here against his old team. Think he'll have a great game. He's definitely very comfortable here in Tropicana Field. So David Price, lock him in there into your lineups. And for my second guy, we're going to go a bit cheaper here. I know it's a little bit against my normal kind of strategy, but I'm going to follow up what I did yesterday. Even though Gary Richards kind of blew up on me, he was doing pretty well until that bad inning. But Ulyss Shashin, I think that's how you say it. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he's in a great spot here. Another guy going against his older team, so he got the revenge narratives going with both of these guys. And this guy in San Diego last year was absolutely dominant. He had a 1.79 ERA last year. He averaged, I'm not sure if this is actually correct, but 19 fantasy points per game in those home starts, 9-3 at home. So a very good year here in San Diego. It's definitely a good reason for it. In Petco Park, it's a very pitcher friendly. So I think he'll have another good outing here going against his old team. He'll be definitely motivated to have a great showing here. Yeah, and the Padres, they did pretty damn bad yesterday with their bats. Only produced 1 run in 12 innings. They're prone to strikeouts. We saw Chase Anderson have a good outing against them yesterday. So I think Chachin can return good value here at only 6,600 and honestly approach around 20 drafting points. San Diego's pitcher is a guy that's never pitched in the pros. So Milwaukee can definitely get a few runs off him and get this W for him. So lock him in there. And for my guy that you can pivot to, though, I think Kyle Hendricks is definitely a great option as a other starting pitcher you can pair with David Price if you want to go a little bit more safety at the pitcher position. But I think Price, point per dollar, I think Yashin, whatever, at 6,600 can just return more value at that price and allows you to pay up for some more hitters here. I got a lot of studs to recommend to you, so guys. So at the hitter position, Paul Goldschmidt at 5,000 is definitely someone that kind of stood out to me when I was first glancing over the games. Has that huge split advantage here going against a lefty pitcher. He was absolutely dominant last year and throughout his career against lefties. 280 ISO last year and a 49% hard hit rate. So he's definitely killing the ball against lefties. Small sample size against his pitcher. The guy has walked him a lot, so he's been getting on base very frequently against this guy. And when he doesn't just get walked onto the bases, he's 3 for 8 with a double and 2 stolen bases when he gets on base. So he has that stolen base ability against this guy. He can definitely produce some runs. The Diamondbacks are implied around 4.8 runs. So I think Goldschmidt can get some good runs here. An extra base hit, maybe even a home run off this guy. This guy struggles against right-handed batters, a younger pitcher, not very good. So Paul Goldschmidt, lock him in there. It's a nice elite bat that can produce big point totals. We know that Arizona, I think this game's I honestly didn't even know this, but they did a humidifier or whatever with the balls. I guess they're putting the balls in this thing to kind of make more wet or something like that. I don't even know, but it's supposed to help the pitchers in the situation. But Paul Goldschmidt is such a good hitter. I don't think it will affect him that much. He's so elite, especially against the left-handed pitchers in this spot. So I still like him at 5,000. Maybe he gets lower on with that kind of narrative considered, though, and stuff like that. But for my second guy, we're going to go with Carlos Correa, definitely in a good hitter's park in Texas here at 4,900. Another high salary guy here going against Doug Fister. Not a bad pitcher, but a guy that can definitely get blown out every single game he's out. And the Rangers bullpen is very bad. The Astros, I believe, have the highest implied run total on the slate at 5.6 runs. So I think Carlos Correa can honestly get 5 at-bats, maybe even 6 at-bats in this game, especially if they make Doug Fister leave the game in 2 innings or so. And he was very good here in Texas last year. He had 4 home runs in 6 games, so he definitely has that pop potential. 29 home runs in 127 games last year, and same pop, had a nice double RBI yesterday in Texas. I think he'll carry that game into here and get a few more hits, and definitely possibility for a home run here for Carlos Correa. So definitely got to consider. Lock him in there. And for my third guy, JD Martinez, going back to the Red Sox. David Price, a good combo here. He's going to need some run support to get the win. I think JD Martinez is definitely a guy here that can produce some runs for this Boston lineup. Another guy, insane splits against the lefties last year, off the charts. A 516 ISO against lefties last year and a 531 WOBA against them. That's the highest I think I've ever seen against lefties. So insane stuff. Tampa Bay, it's definitely known as a pitcher's park, but the one thing with here is that the left field is actually pretty short. It's 315 feet down the left field pole, whatever. So JD Martinez definitely has the power to hit one out to left field if he can get one up Blake Snell. Blake Snell, another guy, is kind of up and down pitcher. I think JD Martinez can definitely take advantage of him now. He's not a great strikeout guy, so JD Martinez think he can get an extra base hit and definitely has a possibility of getting a home run. He's in that meat of the order in the cleanup spot and definitely can get some RBIs. Went 0 for 4 with a walk, I believe, yesterday. So a bounce back game here is looming for JD Martinez with those insane splits. So lock him in there. And for my last hitter to definitely consider, Chris Davis is a guy that I'm looking at. I mean, I felt like I needed to mention him as well, but also wanted to mention these other elite bats. So not a true value guy, but I think at a salary at 4,100, it's way too cheap considering what he can do. Maybe more GPP because he always has those 0-point outings when he gets struck out a lot. None here. Of course, I try to reference a 0-point outing, and he didn't have one at the end of last year, but he's a guy that can strike out a lot. But the thing with this matchup here against Tyler Skaggs, he's absolutely atrocious against right-handed batters, not a good strikeout pitcher, and Chris Davis has insane BVP numbers, a very small sample, so it can't take it with that much weight, but 4 for 6 with 2 doubles and 1 home run is pretty insane, especially with the fact that Chris Davis hasn't struck out to this guy. Chris Davis is definitely known for striking out. So good splits on both sides of the with the pitcher and the hitter. Chris Davis very good against lefties as well. Already went deep last game against my boy Garrett Richards. Had an absolute fucking laser to center field. Is an insane hit. So Chris Davis has that power. Think will return another home run here tonight against the Angels. Lock him in there, and that still leaves you with 3,600 remaining per player, with absolute studs at each hitter position, with Paul Goldschmidt, Carlos Correa, JD Martinez, and Chris Davis. All those guys have the possibility of going deep in those games. And all those guys except Chris Davis are honestly guys that hit for average as well. So pretty safe in all those spots. So that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Also, I got some for stacks. Houston is definitely a good stack. I think Boston is doable. Obviously, the Yankees are in play. Not like stacks that really stand out to me. The Cubs are in play. The obvious stacks are normally the ones I look at when I recommend you guys. Like if you look at the pitchers that give up a lot of home runs, that's normally what I try to stack against, and teams with high runs implied. I didn't really write down a list of stacked teams by accident. I realized that, but Houston is definitely one I would heavily consider because their bullpen is so bad. I think Houston can honestly drop like 10 plus runs in that game, and the Yankees can definitely go deep against Toronto in that game, but they're very expensive, so it is tough to stack them, but it's definitely doable with Yassin in the pitching spot. So that is it. Drop a like in the video if you did enjoy it, and if you want to get the full slate, the full lineup of every player, like every position I'll be doing, you can contact me on Twitter at MoneyWebby, or maybe email me at webbyxx@gmail.com if you don't have a Twitter to get kind of more information on that if you want. You can subscribe as well to get these videos every single day. Greatly appreciate all the support you guys showed on the first video. Keep it up, guys. I'll keep churning out these videos as much as I can, and any updates on these plays at MoneyWebby, but we're looking pretty clean for weather, so it should be a good slate. Good luck tonight, guys, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.